Joel's pick speaks to the sea. With a jellyfish lounge and decor to match, this spectacular setting in a building with a long San Francisco history can take your breath away. On Post near Union Square, it's called Farallon.
Here at Farallon, we go by coastal cuisine. We look at what we can get the freshest out of the sea, and we like to put that on the plate.
I'm Emily Lucchetti, the executive pastry chef.
And I'm Ryan Seamus, the executive chef at Farallon Restaurant.
Farallon Restaurant was opened in 1997, and the owners, Pat Coletto and Mark Franz, created this magical, wonderful seafood restaurant. And Pat, as the designer, took a lot of historical elements of the building, which included these handcrafted individual tiles that are from 1921, and combined them with jellyfish lights and sea urchin chandeliers, and really created a combination of old San Francisco and new.
One of the main things I learned when I first started here from Mark himself was simple is best. We season it and we let that fish or that piece of meat speak for itself.
Terry Wu and I create the dessert menu. We really go for elegantly simple because we want the flavors of the dessert to really shine and stand out.
We like to look at the guests, and you can tell by their faces that they've forgotten about everything except tonight when they're eating and enjoying themselves.
And that's what makes a complete dining experience. It's the combination of a wonderful ambiance, beautiful food, both savory and sweet, and incredible service that when you leave, you're kind of transported in time and you say to yourself, I'm going to come back because I want to recreate that.
Is it the motion of the ocean that gets you?
No, Farallon is just one of those go-to restaurants for me. Ever since it first opened, and I was fortunate to be at the opening.
Which was 1997, I think, now that I think about it.
I was at the opening. Isn't that tragic and scary and
When
wonderful?
you were 10 years old.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so I was at the opening. I remember it so well, walking into that space for the first time and seeing the jellyfish lamps or the great mollusks in the back room with the tile in the ceiling and these beautiful moments. And I think it really was, or at least for me, it was the first time I'd ever been in a space like that kind of takes your breath away as you walk in and you really feel like j'arrivais. I feel like I've arrived. And in this city, we have so many beautiful restaurants, and that really is right up there. I love Farallon.
Well, and before we get into the food of Farallon, it is a very historic building. I think it dates to the 20s. It was the old Elks Lounge, and that's the original tile roof because it was a pool underneath.
I understand the pool still exists below you.
You can swim there.
Yes, that if you go downstairs, they suspended a new floor.
Did you feel grand when you walked in?
I did indeed, and I would have to say the service is really exceptional. I love that part.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, but what about the food then? I'm reading something into this. What about the food then?
We started with the scallop carpaccio with the king trumpet mushroom chips with a drizzle of truffle oil, and everything was good. But the kumquats, the little thin slices of kumquats on top, it overpowered the truffle a little bit, and the king trumpet mushroom chips were a little bit overdone. But otherwise, the scallops was good. Seafood, in this place is fantastic.
One thing that came out from the kitchen, the delicious appetizer, was a semolina flour squid ink pasta. And it has this dense black color to it and this briny flavor that sort of tastes like you're having oysters, but it's like a warm oyster flavor, but it's not oyster because it's squid ink, and it's this deep dark color. Now, if you're on a first date, I don't know that I'd order it because you'd be a little like Jean Valjean with the teeth or whatever. And we didn't have so much of it that it actually turned our teeth dark. It's delicious, and there was just a little bit of the actual squid in it as well, and the kind of multi-layer flavor components were really gorgeous. And we also had a crab and beet salad, and so the beets are cooked and then they're cool, and then the crab is sort of lightly on top, and this beautiful coloration of the beets and the gorgeous crab on top, and each element really did work together.
Work for you. And what did you have for a main course?
We had the char, which was beautifully presented with turnips on the side, And it was absolutely delicious. I mean, char is a very delicately flavored fish, and it just was brilliant. That's all I can say. It was brilliant.
You know, this is, I think you'd all agree, probably a special occasion. I mean, this isn't a place that you go and drop down the cash.
No, it's
unless you want to sit at the bar.
But you do expect a certain level of service, and you do expect a certain level of cuisine when it comes to a restaurant like that, because you're spending a little bit more. Like the Arctic char, which when you read the menu, you realize that it's part of the Seafood Watch program. He pays attention to what goes on the table in his restaurant all the time. Or the white sea bass, that one of the dishes that we had, line caught California white sea bass. You know that it's part of, it is the better choice. Or the
but you can also have, before we get to wine, you can also have meat. Right?
Yes.
You can, I mean, this, you know, I love fish, but you can also have meat.
I swam against the tide and I ordered the filet, which came with a Yukon potato mash with the filet on top and 3 huge onion rings with a dollop of ketchup with the sauce bordelaise. So the dish was actually very, very good. My only disappointment was the bordelaise. The bordelaise was
Listen,
a little
this is the restaurant I chose.
It was a little thin. Otherwise, it was spectacular. And one thing about the service, the sommelier in this place, just perfect. Was not intimidating, which some sommeliers can be.
Absolutely.
Made suggestions, came back, I think, one other time. And it was just perfect for the level of service that we required.
All right, Pepe, now let's talk dessert.
Well, we had a phenomenal poached pear, where the presentation was so different from any poached pear I've had before. There were strips of reduced whiskey and sorghum sauce, and you could take bites of pear and put exactly as much of this intense sweet flavor with it as you liked. A wonderful alcohol-soaked brioche, and to finalize the texture, a crisp cinnamon crisp. It was just really magnificent. And our other dessert was the Pavlova, which I think Joel also had.
Absolutely. And I was expecting with the Pavlova something that was more creamy and warm. It was like icy in temperature and brightly colored. It had this gorgeous pink flavor to it with the little cookie underneath, the sabelle underneath. That was the perfect density, so you could just eat it with your fork. And it's so funny at the end of a meal like that, you're thinking, oh gosh,
I
can, but why not? I mean, why not? And you order a couple of desserts and you say, oh, well, I'll have this. And how about the mango sorbet with the granita that was like a green chili granita, the combinations, the sweet with just a little bit of spice together. We couldn't possibly eat it. Are you kidding me?
Gone.
Everything. And the mignardises as well.
It was actually the best course for me. The pecan pie was just the crust was like a very flaky, buttery sablé. The ice cream, which was a cappuccino and mascarpone blend, which you wouldn't normally put together, and then drizzle with a reduction of pomegranate. And it was just edgy, it was hip, it's now, it was just exquisite. And then when I saw that it was,
no calories or something like that.
Calories.
We didn't talk about the C word at table.
Yeah.
So I would go back there for that pecan pie and that ice cream and that sauce again and again.
All right, this is your restaurant. Give us a quick summary.
I think that if you're hanging out on the square and you're on your way to a performance, or if you're shopping on Union Square, the Jellyfish Lounge is the best place to go. If you have friends in from out of town or a special occasion, it really is a wonderful place to experience an entire evening of deliciousness.
Okay, and Pepe?
An elegant, fanciful restaurant for a special occasion, great sommelier, beautifully prepared food.
All right, and Karen?
Yeah, I would say I'm looking forward to the happy hour.
Okay.
Yes. I would go back there again to have that whole experience if someone else picked up the tab.
All right. If you would like to try Farallon, it's on Post between Mason and Powell in San Francisco. The telephone number is 415-956-6969. It's open every day for dinner. Reservations are recommended, and the average tab per person without drinks is around $75.